Police opened fire to stop a knife attack in Yau Ma Tei. 2 Nepalese men suffered gunshot wounds. In Syria, Russian warplanes and Syrian government forces accused of bombing Aleppo's main hospital. And Iran unveils its home-built drone that looks similar to a captured American spy drone.
Good evening. Police fired 4 shots early this morning to stop a knife attack on a man in Yau Ma Tei. 2 suspects of Nepalese descent suffered gunshot wounds and were taken to hospital, with one of them remaining in critical condition. Another Nepalese who was injured in the hacking attack was also sent to hospital. Police are still looking for other suspects who fled the scene. Adam Shu tells us more.
Around 6 o'clock in the morning, a group of around 6 people were seen attacking a man at the junction of Nanking Street and Parker Street in Yau Ma Tei. Some were brandishing choppers. 2 police officers saw what was happening and tried to stop the attack. Then came the gunshots. Police said the officers decided to open fire after their verbal warnings went unheeded. One attacker kept on hacking at the victim until after more shots were fired. The 2 officers fired 2 shots each. 2 suspects suffered gunshot wounds, one in the forearm, the other in the waist. The 2, both in their early 20s, were arrested and rushed to hospital. But the rest of the gang fled the scene. The victim, who is in his 30s, suffered knife wounds to the back of his head. He was also sent to hospital. According to the police, all the people involved in the incident are non-ethnic Chinese. Police cordoned off part of the street as officers combed the area, gathering evidence as part of their investigation. They found a pair of knives believed to be the attackers' weapons and inspected a taxi, which one of the suspects tried to hop on to escape arrest. Police believe the attack was not a fight among triad gangsters after carrying out their initial investigation. Some residents in the neighborhood complained about regular street fights, mostly involving ethnic minorities.
There are many fights going on, mostly in the nights. People are drunk over here and then fighting. Maybe in a month at least once.
District councillors here say the police have stepped up patrols in the area after they had reported a spate of fights breaking out between ethnic minority gangs in the neighborhood in recent months. Adam Shu, TVB News.
A 19-year-old man was killed after being hit by a taxi on New Clearwater Bay Road in Kowloon this morning. Just before 2 a.m., a taxi was traveling along the road. The driver said that when he reached Fengxing Street, he felt his vehicle hit something. When he got out of the taxi to investigate, he found the man lying unconscious on the road. But police apparently found no signs of impact on the taxi. They're investigating if the man was the victim of an earlier hit-and-run accident.
Questions have been raised over why the government continues to use an engineering consulting firm that allegedly breached confidentiality agreements after internal data on the Wang Chao development was leaked. Anne-Marie Sim has more.
More fallout from the Wang Chao controversy. This time it involves engineering giant Arup Group. It allegedly used confidential data from the SAR government on behalf of developer New World Development in its bid to get approval from the Town Planning Board to build high-end flats next to the government's controversial Wang Chao public housing development. In September last year, a Civil Engineering and Development Department report revealed that it had asked Arup to clarify the sources of information which are not known to the general public used in its assessments on New World Development's Wang Chao proposal. Data on Wang Chao's projected population and employment figures, information only available internally to government departments for research purposes, were included in New World Development's proposal submitted to the Town Planning Board in July 2015 to rezone a greenbelt site in Wang Chao for residential development. Arup responded by saying that it revised 3 impact assessment reports on traffic, drainage and sewage based on the government's comments and resubmitted the documents that same month. The consultancy firm had cited data from the Planning Department's Territorial Population and Employment Data Matrix in the original reports to show that the development wouldn't lead to overcapacity in Wong Chau. But it later removed the data from 3 revised submissions to the Town Planning Board. In addition to the unauthorised use of data, Arup's 2 projects for the government and New World Development were headed by the same consultants. But some engineers say it's unavoidable for the government and private firms to hire the same engineering consulting firm, given that there's only half a dozen of them in the industry. Meanwhile, some town planners suggest these consultancy firms have a firewall policy in place in cases of conflict of interest. The Development Bureau stressed that consultants who breached contractual agreements would be temporarily suspended from bidding for government projects. Anne-Marie Sim, TVB News.
Russian and Syrian government warplanes continued to pound rebel-held areas in and around Aleppo. Rebels and aid workers on the ground accuse them of destroying one of the city's main hospitals and killing at least 2 patients. Alan Buknia reports.
Since a ceasefire brokered by the United States and Russia fell apart more than a week ago, the Russian and Syrian government offensive has intensified in the rebel-held area of Aleppo. Almost 300,000 people are trapped as the intense campaign of airstrikes is now coupled with ground operations. Rebels and rescuers say a main trauma hospital was hit by at least 7 missiles dropped by both Russian jets and Syrian helicopters. They claim 2 people were killed and 13 injured, and say the hospital is now completely out of service. It's the second hospital hit in less than a week. More than 200 wounded had to be evacuated after Syrian or Russian airstrikes knocked another major hospital out of service Wednesday. The city is left with no anesthetists and few intensive care beds. The assault has drawn international condemnation, with the U.S. envoy to the United Nations calling the actions barbarism, not counterterrorism. In Turkey, a Syrian non-governmental organization worker organized what's called a Global Day of Rage for Aleppo, calling for protests in cities around the world.
We are people from Syria and from Turkey, and some of our friends are expressing our anger towards the Russian aggression that led so far to the killing of more than 400 people and around 100 children.
In London, hundreds joined the international protest.
It's disgusting that people, innocent people, civilians, are being sort of dismissed as collateral damage.
And in Berlin, the protesters called for the United Nations and the German government to give support to the Syrian people. Alan Buknia, TVB News.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard has unveiled a home-built drone said to be capable of carrying bombs. The drone, called Sageh or Thunderbolt, looks similar to a U.S. spy drone captured by Iran 5 years ago. Iran claimed to have shot down the American RQ-170 Sentinel drone near its border with Afghanistan and broadcast footage of the recovered aircraft. Tehran also said last year it had successfully tested its replica of the RQ-170. Iran state-run TV says its drone is capable of carrying 4 precision-guided bombs. The drone is also said to be able to carry out long-range missions, but the report gave no information about the range.
The U.S. presidential campaign has stooped to ugly accusations over sex lies and videotape. Hillary Clinton is attacking Donald Trump for attacking a former beauty queen. All this as the New York Times alleges Trump hasn't paid taxes for years.
39 days left. This is the choice. Do we lift each other up or do we tear each other down?
Clearly, Clinton chose to tear Trump down. She pointed to Trump's social media attack on a former beauty queen.
I mean, really, who gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning to engage in a Twitter attack against a former Miss Universe?
She's referring to Alicia Machado, who Trump called Miss Piggy for gaining weight after she won the 1996 Miss Universe contest. Attempting to defend himself, Trump's Twitter tirade called Machado disgusting for being featured in a sex videotape. Clinton's campaign even arranged for the media to interview Machado, who called Trump a misogynist. She insists the sex tape Trump claims she's in is just a distraction from the fact that he lacks the temperament to be president.
Que los quiero mucho, que los quiero mucho. And thank you very much for all the people that are supporting me right now. Thank you.
Trump chalked it up to just more lies by desperate Clinton.
Clinton and her cronies will say anything, do anything, lie about anything to keep their grip on power.
He went on to out Clinton over a leaked video of her being disrespectful to Bernie Sanders and his supporters.
A new audio tape that has surfaced just yesterday shows her demeaning and mocking Bernie Sanders and all of his supporters.
Meantime, records obtained by the New York Times alleged Trump's business losses in 1995 were so large it could have allowed him to avoid paying taxes for as many as 18 years. In the Times article yesterday, it says Trump's state income tax filings show he suffered losses of more than $915 million US. The article called it a period of bankruptcies and poor business decisions. But it also admitted Trump paid hundreds of millions of dollars in other taxes. Residents throughout Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba are scrambling to batten down the hatches for Hurricane Matthew. Cuban President Raul Castro is overseeing preparations in Cuba. Experts are calling it the most powerful Atlantic cyclone since Hurricane Felix in 2007. The U.S. military is prepared to airlift hundreds of people from its Guantanamo Bay naval base in Cuba. Matthew is expected to make landfall later today near Jamaica's capital, Kingston. That's where residents are stocking up on supplies and evacuating to shelters. Winds are currently blowing at 240 kilometers per hour. That is why the U.S. National Hurricane Center has downgraded Matthew's intensity from a Category 5 storm to Category 4. Haiti is also evacuating residents.
Still to come in the broadcast tonight, the leader of Spain's socialists resigns, paving the way for a possible end to the country's political deadlock. A call on the government to plug loopholes in the building management ordinance. And a government plan to build subsidized housing on a football training site in Sha Tin.
There are times when we just can't help ourselves. Hong Kong Tennis Open 2016, starting Monday, October 10th, right here on Pearl. Bear braves the freezing Arctic cold of Scotland and gets friendly with reindeer on the way to climbing the highest mountain in the UK.
This is horrible.
Monday, Britain's Biggest Adventures with Bear Grylls. The last episode at 9:35 on Pearl.
Nutricia 受母語啟發，科研40年。Aptamil 白金版全力助你開展寶寶嘅光輝大道。全賴多年科研成果，成就 Aptamil 白金版嘅 EMP 配方。幫助寶寶一步一步邁向將來。Aptamil 白金版領先一步科學。
Why has Hong Kong become so politically divided 19 years after its reunification with China? Holden Chow on Straight Talk, Tuesday night at 8 on Pearl. Celebrating and honouring individuals who have achieved major breakthroughs in astronomy, life science and medicine, and mathematical sciences. The Shaw Prize 2016 award presentation ceremony. Monday night at 6:55 on Pearl.
Welcome back. The leader of Spain's socialists has resigned in a move that could resolve the country's 9-month political deadlock. Pedro Sanchez stepped down after losing a vote in a party revolt. Sanchez had been blocking conservative Mariano Rajoy from forming a minority government. Rajoy's People's Party won the most votes in 2 recent elections, but has been unable to strike a deal to form a government. After a stormy 10-hour debate, members of the bitterly divided socialists voted to oust Sanchez. The new socialist leadership may be more agreeable to letting Rajoy form a coalition government.
Nominations for the Legislative Council's presidential race will close Wednesday. Pro-establishment camp lawmakers will hold an internal meeting tomorrow, and they are expected to back Andrew Leung, the House Committee chairman in the previous LegCo session. But New People's Party lawmaker Michael Tien wants to hold a primary election. Rachel Leung reports.
The race for the LegCo presidency will take place in the first council meeting on October 12th. Speaking to TVB News today, re-elected lawmaker Michael Tien made it clear he's ready to challenge Andrew Leung's bid for the post. Leung is the frontrunner to replace Zheng Yuxing as LegCo president. But Tien wants the pro-establishment camp to hold a primary election to select its candidates.
Those that I've contacted, roughly half said they would support Andrew and half would support me. But those that claim they would support me made it very clear it would be only on a secret ballot basis. So I know that my challenge is to fight for a secret ballot internal nomination process.
He believes doing it this way can also ease concerns of political interference by Beijing.
A secret ballot is the most democratic way of expressing someone's true position. I think that's a big step forward, and also the most important thing that would accomplish is to once and for all settle all the allegations and accusations that the liaison office is behind all this. Because if we end up having a secret ballot, the liaison office can come in and say, look, all these are allegations.
Tien says that even if he's not chosen as the sole pro-establishment candidate, he will back Leung 100%.
But you will vote for Andrew or someone else?
At this point, most likely I will, even though I'm against a functional constituency councillor being president, simply because the vote count between pro-establishment and the non-pro-establishment faction just too close to count. And I need to think about the overall preference.
Members of the pro-establishment camp will meet tomorrow to discuss the matter. Rachel Leung, TVB News.
The Anti-Bid Rigging Alliance urged the government to criminalize those who violate the Building Management Ordinance to better protect homeowners' interests. Earlier, residents at Alway Gardens in Chuen Wan disbanded its owners' corporation. It suspected it had colluded in inflating the estate's facelift cost. They then formed a new corporation, but the old one refused to hand over its books and funds to its successor, insisting the new corporation was not legitimate. As a result, the new one was unable to pay for the estate's security and cleaning services. The owners took the case to the Land Tribunal, which affirmed the new corporation's legitimacy last Friday. The alliance, which assisted the owners in the process, urged the government to set up a special tribunal to deal with building management disputes.
Local football club Kitchie is in danger of losing its new grounds to a housing development. The government said on Friday that it wants to take back the land in Sha Tin, but some district councillors fear the area isn't fit for redevelopment. Rachel Lung reports.
Local football champions Kitchie built their new multi-million-dollar training ground on this 15,000 square meter site in Shakmun. The facility boasts two 11-a-side grounds covered with state-of-the-art artificial turf pitches. It was only opened last September, but now the team faces being sent off. The government said on Friday that it's keen to take back two pieces of land in Sha Tin to help ease the city's housing shortage, and one of those plots includes the team's new home. A Sha Tin district councillor confirmed that a housing department representative had soft lobbied him about the feasibility of developing the land into housing. The district councillor said the government had mentioned a two-phase development plan aimed at reaching its goal of providing 1,400 units there. It plans to build 560 flats in the first phase of the project on an area designated for recreational use. The councillor added that the government didn't say when the second phase, which involves the Kitchie sites, would start, but that the project would produce a total of 3 housing blocks. It cost $84 million to build Kitchie's training ground, with $63 million of that coming from the Jockey Club. The facility is currently under a short-term lease of 5 years. Sha Tin District Councillor Michael Yung voiced concerns that the area is not ideal for redevelopment. He said it's important for the government to strike a balance between housing and sports development. Meanwhile, Kitchie said it will publish a statement after discussing the issue with the Jockey Club. Rachel Lang, TVB News.
All right, Chris, I'm excited about your top story today in sports.
So let's get right down to it. Hong Kong boxer Rex So held an open workout today ahead of his next fight on Saturday. Much of the talk again was centered on just when he'll get an opportunity to fight for a world championship. Jameson Wong has more.
It's a must-win for Hong Kong's Rex Cho. They're all must-wins now when you're so close to the prize. Rex takes on unbeaten 20-year-old Ryuto Maekawa of Japan Saturday at the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center. The Wonder Kid aims to improve his record to 20-0. And in line for, and I know we've said it many times already, a world title shot. So what happened with that proposed blockbuster New Year's Eve fight in Tokyo? The one I told you about a few months ago with the Japanese world champion? Well, he lost his last fight and doesn't have the belt anymore, much to the disappointment of Rex and his team. They had keyed in on Kohei Kono and even traveled to Japan in August to cheer him on. However, Kono's loss means Rex will have to wait until next year to fight for a world championship. The 29-year-old recently returned from a month-long training camp in the Philippines. That's been a formula which has worked for him. And Rex says he remains focused on one fight at a time. That's all he can do because in professional boxing, while he may throw and take the punches, he doesn't call all the shots. Jameson Wong, TVB News.
At the Ryder Cup, the United States holds a 3-point lead over the Europeans heading to today's singles matches. 26-year-old Patrick Reed has been the star for the hosts. He partnered with Jordan Spieth to win their Saturday 4-ball competition. Reed and Spieth have 3 wins and a tie so far. The overall score, 9.5 points to 6.5 points. The Europeans will retain the cup if they can win 8 of the 12 one-on-one matches.
And that's our news. Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.
Millions of feral and pet dogs and cats are smuggled from Hong Kong or captured in mainland China and sold for food there every year. The Pearl Report probes this illegal trade and continuing cruelty to critters in Hong Kong. The Pearl Report, Monday night at 8.
I am smart.
Think you can't be fooled? Think again.
Don't get too cocky, young brains.
This is blowing my mind.
I wouldn't really believe you, because I know what my brain sees.
Pops into my head. I have no idea how.
Wednesday, Brain Games, Season 3, at 8 on Pearl.
Tiger is gold! Yes！ 而家上泰加保險6161.com.hk 可以幫我嗰幾架大中小型貨車買車保。
而家連校巴同旅遊巴都受保㗎，快啲上網站或者打服務熱線體驗即時超筍報價啦。
Blue whales can live to be over 100 years old.
The animals that David Attenborough finds particularly fascinating.
It's likely that this incredible creature could revolutionize modern medicine.
Wednesday, David Attenborough's Natural Curiosities, Season 3, at 8:30 on Pearl.
Good evening. It was mainly cloudy with sunny intervals today. At 5 p.m., a band of clouds associated with a broad trough of low pressure is covering the northern part of the South China Sea and the coast of Guangdong. Today's temperatures range from 26.2 to 29.8 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 75 and 89%. Winds were moderate east to northeasterlies. The current temperature is 28 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 82%. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow?
Oh.
It will be mainly cloudy with a few showers tonight. Showers will be more frequent tomorrow morning. Temperatures will range from 26 to 29 degrees. Sunny intervals in the following couple of days. Tomorrow's air quality health index will range from low to moderate. The maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 5. Now to the latest global weather update. Cloudy in Shanghai and Xiamen, rain in Taipei. Cloudy in Guangzhou and Chengdu, bright in Macau. Bright in Beijing, rain in Seoul and Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Rain in Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, thunderstorms in Singapore. Thunderstorms in Delhi, showers in Karachi, and rain in Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo and showers in Nairobi. Rain in Brisbane, showers in Sydney, Melbourne, and Auckland. Bright in Toronto, showers in New York. Showers in Vancouver and San Francisco. Foggy in Los Angeles. Sunny in London, Paris, and Zurich.